Hello, welcome to the Live to 110 podcast. My name is Wendy Myers, and you can find me at live to110.com. You can find the corresponding video on the blog post and on the YouTube channel at Wendy Myers, Myers on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about ozone therapy. I think this is such an important therapy for really everyone to do, not only those that have an infection or Lyme disease or health condition, but it's really everyone has low-grade chronic infections in their body for various reasons. We have mold, parasites, and other types of infections that can be treated with ozone therapy. So I've done a podcast before on this, but wanted to revisit it because it is so very important. So my friend Bill Quateman joins me on the podcast today, and he's carved out his own niche in the field of functional medicine with the development of his company, Advanced BioCell. He uses ozone therapy to benefit many of his clients, and it's been used for years in Europe and other countries worldwide with incredible health benefits and results. And Bill's going to tell us, why the U.S. hasn't capitalized on this medical advancement. So tune in. You could hear about the benefits of ozone therapy, what health conditions ozone can help, why ozone isn't used more widely, and where you can get ozone therapy. But first, we have to do the disclaimer. Please keep in mind that this program is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease or health condition, and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. So please consult your healthcare practitioner before engaging in any treatment that we may suggest today on the show. So our podcast guest, Bill Quateman, is basically a wellness concierge. He's an author and a marketing consultant with a focus on integrated regenerative medicine. He's a founder and international director of a functional nutrition company, Advanced BioCell, which provides customized personal health. He's also president of hair loss solutions and beauty company createdhair.com. It's more than just hair. And he's founder of a media and consulting company, Angel Mind, which is new media for an emerging world. Since 1978, as a passionate student, he has studied holistic health and natural medicine, including a 32-year tutorial with holistic professor of psychiatry at Northwestern University, Dr. Bruce Boyd. He has also worked with and learned from some of the most progressive and visionary medical doctors and integrated natural medicine physicians in the field for more than 15 years. Since 2000, Bill has been in business development in the field of orthomolecular medical nutrition testing. He does hair mineral analysis, like myself, and he has worked with some of the preeminent doctors and experts in this field, including one of the founders of orthomolecular medicine, Dr. Abram Hoffer. With his company, Advanced BioCell, Mr. Quateman has developed a comprehensive process for engaging, guiding, and educating and servicing clients in the rapidly growing field of systems-based, personalized functional medicine at the leading edge of the wellness industry. Bill, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Wendy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wanting to the listeners a little bit about your background and how you got into health.
Okay. I have a checkered past. I might put that on the table. I started out many years ago as a songwriter and recording artist. I made records for Clive Davis and Columbia Records. But, show business is a lot like the health and wellness business, because what you're doing is, in my mind anyway, what I wanted to do was see if I could help people live a better life somehow. And the songs was the first way to do it. And then my family was born. I started raising my son. I stayed home. I was a housewife for 5.5 years, cooking and cleaning and shopping and schlepping and mommy and me classes and cooking dinner in a short skirt and high heels. It was hard work. And I started a publishing company to write a book about step family life, because that's what I had and that's what I have. And after a couple of years of learning the publishing business and getting ready to go out and be a parenting expert, Will Rogers style, because I don't have a degree and I didn't want one, but I could tell stories and sing songs, which is what I still do, except I don't really sing about vitamins. Mm-hmm. Uh, I met a doctor in the field of orthomolecular medicine, which is a fancy sounding word for therapeutic nutrition. And I had the great pleasure of working as I helped him write his book that he wanted to do with Abram Hoffer. You may know that name yourself. Abram was one of the founders of orthomolecular medicine with Linus Pauling, and two of probably some of the greatest natural medicine minds to have graced the covers of the natural medicine books. And so, as I got into it with this particular doctor, I co-wrote his book with him. I learned all about natural medicine and was introduced to hair tissue mineral analysis through this doctor who was using it as the baseline practice for that particular approach, this particular approach to finding out how your metabolism functions or not, and started building his company. Marketing director, CEO, ran his company, and then we parted ways about 8 years ago because of personal differences, and I started Advanced BioCell, which is my company now. We do hair tissue mineral analysis, oxygen cleansing therapy, reverse aging, anti-aging protocols that include reverse aging hormone therapy. We have relationships with the finest stem cell clinics in the world, from Thailand and Australia and Germany. And our integrative oncology relationships enjoy a 70% reversal of fourth stage cancer. So it's kind of like a broad spectrum virtual network of some of the finest natural medicine doctors in the world.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm coming in to do a cyber scan very very soon, which uses quantum technology to know what kind of infections you have and what supplements may work for you and not. And it's really really interesting technology.
Oh, it's fascinating. Dr. Rex Wilson, who's a very dear friend and colleague, is medical nutrition director for Advanced BioCell, is a superb cyber scan practitioner. Are you going to see him, or
Yes.
yes, you're going to
Yes.
see Rex? Yeah,
Yes.
perfect,
Yeah. Yeah.
perfect.
So we're going to talk about ozone therapy. Very, very important to get oxygen into your body, and has a number of benefits. So let's discuss what exactly is ozone therapy.
Well, ozone therapy is the use of ozone mixed with oxygen to help cleanse and detoxify the blood from the microforms that inhabit our inner environment. That was pretty simple and direct, wasn't it? I thought.
Yeah.
I'm listening to myself say that. I like that.
Yeah.
Ozone is a highly active oxygen, and it's a biological agent. It's a gas, and it's a single molecule. And I don't want to get too scientific because it's really more boring to do that than to tell your listeners the dramatic and tremendous health benefits that ozone mixed with oxygen can bring. When it's mixed with the blood, oxygen and ozone create a mixture together, which really causes healing on all numbers of levels in the body. What happens is we live in a low oxygen environment. That's where we start this discussion, really. And I hope I come across as a real passionate student rather than a know-it-all, because I've been studying it really just for the last several years, and we at Advanced BioCell have a high-dose ozone treatments that we offer. But I really am more fascinated and excited by what ozone can do than anything else, so that's why I get so enthusiastic about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when the human genes were formed about 10,000 years ago, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
there was 50% more oxygen in the atmosphere than there is in 2016. And what does that mean? Well, What it means for us as human beings is that there's less oxygen to breathe. There's also more pollutants and toxins in the air that also diminish the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. There's chemtrails that clog up the atmosphere. And there are more species on planet Earth right now breathing whatever oxygen's available. As a result, just about everyone you and I know is walking around oxygen depleted. And that's a nice phrase, oxygen depleted. Well, what it means really is that our blood supply does not have the oxygen it needs. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, what that means is that we have a low oxygen environment in our blood, which leaves us open to the microforms inhabiting our blood in a very comfy, cozy kind of fashion, with nobody or nothing asking them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you think, well, okay, why would you want to ask them to leave? That's not being a nice host.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because the microforms, and they are all the things we've heard about: viruses, bacterias, fungus, mold, yeast, parasites, cancers, and you can see them in live blood cell images. And we have before and after where you see all those bits and pieces, and fibrinogens, which are markers of inflammation, before someone came in for ozone treatment, and then an hour after, and then the day after, and you can see all the crud in the blood dissipating until you have nice, juicy little red blood cells where they were previously clumped and put together. What happens is that these microforms, the virus, the bacteria, the parasites, the fungi, they live in a no or low oxygen environment. That's your blood. They thrive there. They take up residence. They build a biomass around themselves, an exoskeleton made out of chitin. That's a scaly, hard kind of piece. And then they take nutrients from the blood and they deposit waste materials in the blood. And so what happens is, unfortunately, it's step by step, slowly over time, but the microforms begin to proliferate, and they take up more and more space, and slowly but surely the blood gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and it loses its fluid nature because it's filled with waste materials from the microforms. It's filled with waste materials from the toxins and the pollutants and the other waste materials that we put into our own blood supply. And so the blood gets thicker and thicker and thicker. So ultimately what happens is it continues to lose its ability to do what blood's supposed to do, which is take nutrients to the cell and take waste products out. Mm-hmm. And when that starts to happen, everything starts to get slower and slower and slower. Metabolism, the nutrients aren't getting to the cells aren't operating properly, everything starts to slow down, it gets thicker and thicker blood, and the red blood cells start to clump. And so the blood is left almost stagnant. Mm-hmm. In so many cases, when it's supposed to be, what do they call it? Life's blood. So what happens then is the nutrients aren't getting to the cells aren't able to make enough energy to send to the different systems in the body, which get to be the immune system, certainly the cardiovascular system, the cognitive function system, the digestive system. But when the immune system has not got the energy, has not got the payment that it needs to function as an operating business, it's kind of something you could think of as the economics of immunity. Mm-hmm. If the immune system's not getting the energy it needs, if it's not getting paid properly, so to speak, out of the bank account of your energy system, it does a slowdown. does a work slow down?
Mm-hmm.
It's not because it's thinking about it, it just doesn't have the resources.
Yeah.
Any way we talk about this, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Of course you do. So what happens then is all these microforms that are always in our blood start to make their way into our systems and start affecting us, and that's the beginning of the trail of ill health.
Yeah. So when you use ozone therapy, how can it benefit your health? I mean, you mentioned many different ways, but are there any ways specifically it helps to benefit us?
Oh, many, many, many ways. Yeah, actually, um, the the basics for this type of natural health are two categories. One is detoxification and cleansing. The other is introducing the proper nutrients. Because in this science, in the science that we practice, which is the natural medicine approach to taking care of ourselves, what the body needs are the right amount of nutrients over time in your body. And if that can't happen, then you start getting sick. So the first thing you want to be doing in this scenario of natural medicine that we all believe in is to clean out and detoxify yourself on an ongoing basis. And that's really one of the most salient conversations, one of the most important conversations in natural medicine these days. I hear from everybody is it's your line, detox or die, isn't that you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my motto.
yeah. So and really that's really people have really no idea of so many elements of how to take care of themselves. Uh, Certainly physiology and body chemistry is one of them, but one of the things that people have really no real insight into is how toxified and polluted all of us really are.
Yeah.
So, first thing we want to do is clean out so that what we put in will stay there and be used. So that's where ozone, oxygen therapy comes into play. It's tremendous for supporting any cancer treatment. Otto Warburg is famous for talking about how he truly believed in the 1930s that cancer was really at base a result of low oxygen in the blood, diminished oxygen, depleted oxygen. So when you introduce ozone and oxygen into the blood supply, again, it comes back to the base. It gives the blood what it needs to be doing what it's supposed to do, which is to take in the nutrients and take out the waste. So when you have a system that's doing that, it helps everything. So the conversation about ozone is such that all different body systems and functions are dramatically impacted with the use of ozone. Your circulation is greatly improved because the blood is moving more fluidly. There's less gunk in the blood to slow it down. So the circulation is improved. With improved circulation comes an enhancement in all kinds of areas. Hair is in large measure a result of poor circulation. Poor eyesight is connected in many ways to poor circulation. In the natural medicine field, you would corroborate, I believe, Wendy, most all problems can be traced to poor circulation as one of the original problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, inflammation. Let's talk about the fire inside, right? I mean, the inflammation comes because of all the other stuff that's built on top of it that's not getting solved, like the toxins and the pollutants that slow down the ability of the body to repair itself and handle the problems that come through, so that the compounding of all the lack of nutrients and the presence of pollutants and toxins starts to compound on itself. And then when you do eat lousy food and you don't take your probiotics, you're just setting yourself up to create a problem. Um, there's so much that ozone does for the whole element of detoxification
Mm-hmm.
in every area of the body. When you find yourself cleaned out, you will then start to absorb the good nutrients that you put in, whether it's the foods or the supplements, and then that'll lead directly to better energy. So why did you have the better energy? Was it because you had some vitamin C, or was it because you had your full complements of soil-based minerals? Well, yeah, but your body was able to get more from the intake on those nutrients because you cleaned out to some or a lot of extent. So just about every system, every function in the body is greatly enhanced with ozone because, for one reason, you're cleaning out the system and enabling the system to have what it needs.
Yes. So, what kind of health issues can ozone help with? I mean, it sounds like almost any imaginable health condition can benefit.
Yes, yes, any and all health conditions. I mean, we see people that come in with Lyme. We see people that come in with herpes. We see people that come in with mold. Um, some people are just come. We see people with HIV. Their viral loads are indetectable now, and that's they're doing more than just the ozone. Ozone is wonderful stuff, and it's dramatically impacting, but it always takes the raw materials, it always takes the minerals, it always takes the vitamins and the amino acids and the fatty acids. Those are crucial. It's not the be all end all. It's just a very powerful way to allow the body its ability to do what it would do were it not all gunked up.
Yes. Yes. So, how can someone utilize ozone? Is it always necessary to go to a physician's office or a naturopathic doctor to utilize ozone?
Well, it depends. I just had a client that came in today. He was visiting from Poland. One of my clients, was a friend of his, referred him, and he's in a position where he could do it. He's going to use my advice to set him up with his own kind of ozone altar, you might say. What If you're in a position to do so, you could get yourself an ozone generator and an oxygen concentrator, which is what is required. You can get yourself a little cloth ozone sauna,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have your own home setup. We help people do that all the time at Advanced BioCell. So one way to do it is to have your own ozone setup in the house. You can do ear insufflation, which means you put stethoscopes in your ears, and it goes right in. Ozone and oxygen goes right into your cranial cavity. It's been shown in the research to be very, very impacting for brain cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So you think, okay, well, if it's impacting brain cancer, probably going to help out with some infections that are probably in my head somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's all in your head. Well, some of it's in your head.
Yeah. And so when you go, so you go to your naturopathic doctor's office and get ozone therapy, like what does that look like? I mean, I know you can
Okay,
inject it
so
in the
the other
blood
ways,
and whatnot.
yeah, okay. So there's other ways to do it. The way most people do it when they see us here at Advanced Biocell is they come in to be treated with ozone and oxygen. Um, Short of doing it in your own setup, like we were talking about, with a little sauna or ear insufflation or rectal insufflation, and drinking freshly made ozone water, which is very, very important for you, no matter what. Drinking water is good, but freshly ozonated water is even better. Athletic performance is enhanced, energy levels are brought up slightly. So that's there. Otherwise, for other ozone treatment, there are a number of different ways. One way is direct IV, where ozone is put directly into the vein. Another way of doing ozone is just like right under the skin. Another way of doing it is ear insufflation, rectal insufflation. Normally, when people come to see us, we are practicing now the newest technology for ozone intake, which is called high dose ozone therapy. Ozone is effective because of three elements. The first part about ozone is the quantity. How much ozone are you taking in a treatment? The next part of it is concentration. How strong is the concentration of ozone in the dosage that you're getting? And the third part of it is the frequency. How often are you getting an ozone treatment? So it's quantity, concentration, and frequency. The reason those are important is because when you have these microforms, these little hard-shelled exoskeletal forms that are sucking your blood, they won't go quietly into that dark night. When you hit them with ozone, they're going to react because they're going to fight back. And there oftentimes can be what's called a Herxheimer reaction, which means you have what they call the healing crisis, and I think it's just much better to call it a crisis because you don't feel good.
Yeah.
There can be headaches, there can be flu symptoms, there can be chills, there can be some nauseousness. And that can happen from any type of detox that you do, as you well know. The interesting part about what we do with high dose is that it's used with the technique called major autohemotherapy. Now, major autohemotherapy is when you infuse 220 milliliters of blood out of the vein and into a surgical glass bottle, and then we infuse that blood under hyperbaric oxygen pressure with ozone and oxygen. And then that blood is infused back into the body. So the difference is that what we do in this technique is treat the blood with ozone outside the body. And so what that does is it puts ozonides, which are the beneficial elements of ozone-treated blood, into the blood, which then go back into the body, acting as little bits of vaccine-like product. Because the viruses and the bacteria that have been killed in the bottle go back into your body and they act on your behalf as a result. That one time in the bottle and back in your body is called a pass. And what we do with high-dose ozone therapy here at Advanced BioCell is we do that in a single 2-hour treatment 10 times. So what you're getting, if we come back to the three areas, is you're getting the highest dose of ozone you could get at the highest concentration level in the shortest amount of time. So roughly speaking, with high-dose ozone, you're getting about 100 times more ozone than you could get any other way in an immediate 2-hour period. So that is a new version of ozone therapy that is becoming very popular because people finding that with the higher doses and the higher concentration in the shorter amount of time, the benefits to the health and wellness for why they came to ozone treatment is a shorter period of time, and the results are very, very dramatic.
How much does a treatment like that cost?
Well, we have different packages and so forth. An initial treatment is $11.50. And we have package rates that bring the price down because we want people to understand that having an ozone treatment is a wonderful thing and it's an important thing to do. However, having ongoing exposure to ozone is really the best benefit that someone's going to find, because the story I tell is like you have a fish tank and you got a little fishy flopping around in the tank and he's having a good time. And then you back up a car to the fish tank and you put a hose on the tailpipe of the car and dump it into the fish tank. After not too long a period of time, the fish is going to be flopping on his side because of all the crap in the water. So what are you going to do? Are you going to give the fish supplements, or are you going to clean the water?
Yeah.
Thing is that tube from the car exhaust is always in the fish tank in the world that we live in.
Yes.
So I say, do you have an air purifier?
I
Cause,
do. I do.
good, because if you don't, your lungs are taking all that crud out of the air. So I say, do you have a shower filter?
I have a whole house filter.
Okay, so there you have it. It keeping crud from getting up your nose when you shower or through your skin
Hmm.
from the tap water.
But even with all those protections, I go walking outside in Los Angeles, so I'm breathing in thallium and all the toxins and whatnot that are in the air, and it's unavoidable. It's difficult to
That,
avoid, no matter what precautions
oh
you
well, that's the
take.
point. The point is it's unavoidable. So what do? You build a bubble.
Hmm.
That's what you are. You familiar with the Arizonian biosphere too?
No, I'm not.
Oh, the Arizonian biosphere too. I want everybody to Google it. In the late '80s or early '90s, they were thinking. There were some scientists who were thinking, well, what would happen if some human being lived in an environment where the air was clean, the water was pure, and the soil was mineralized from which they grew their food? Wow, that sounds like paradise, doesn't
Yeah.
it? So what they did was they built a glass place in Arizona. It was called the Arizonian Biosphere, and the second one was large enough, and they put four people in it, and they lived there. And then after a couple of years, they were evaluated at UCLA, and they, unsurprisingly, said, "Well, based on the biological aging markers that we're finding, if you did this ongoing, you could live to be 120 years old."
Mm.
But that was in 1990. That was before stem cells really peaked. So if you add all these layers of what can you do that's good for yourself, that's where the air purifier and the shower filter and the whole home filter and the taking time to meditate and laughing a lot and having lots of hugs and drinking a lot of water and sleeping enough and taking the pills and having some blood cleaning
Hmm.
is going to fill out your picture of how can I live well.
Yeah. Yeah, I have not tried that yet. Something I have yet to try. I've done the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, but have yet to try ozone. I'm going to have to try out your little menu there at Advanced BioCell when I come in.
I would love you to.
Yeah.
Would love you to.
So, so why isn't ozone used in the U.S. as much as it's employed elsewhere in the world?
Money. Ozone works too well. Take money away from the people that are making you sick. I'm sorry, but I used to be real angry about it, and I was the angry young man, and I'm going to get those guys and everything. But the pharmaceuticals and the AMA and the insurance companies have all the money, and there are people these days, especially the people in your audience, for example, certainly the clients that follow Advanced Biocell and the like, that are voting with their dollars. They're saying, "Oh, I don't think so."
Yeah. Yeah, and Harvard, who publishes a lot of health information, owns a lot of the patents for medical equipment and whatnot. And so there's a lot of power and the powers that be. And unfortunately, in the United States, we're denied a lot of natural health remedies, from being in the mainstream media and from being more well known. And millions of dollars goes into debunking natural health, testing and treatments as quackery, and when that is not done in other countries in Europe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. Ozone is practiced with tremendous success in Germany and Russia and Austria and Egypt and Cuba and Thailand. I mean, they have clinics for 20 years that are getting tremendous success. Magic Johnson went to Germany and got ozone for his HIV.
Yeah.
Now I know this because one of my close colleagues is a friend of his and his circle. And not only did he do that, but he was threatened. No two ways about it. Think about it. Have you ever heard anybody interview Magic Johnson and say, "Well, so how'd you get your HIV under control?"
Mm-hmm. You never heard that.
You never heard anybody ask him that. And the reason you never heard anybody ask him that is because it's in his rider that they can't ask him that.
Mm.
And the reason they can't ask him that is because he was threatened.
Mm.
Because if a big figure like that says, "Oh yeah, I went to Germany at Ozone and my HIV's like totally under control,"
Yeah.
they're done.
Yeah.
They don't want people to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. The pharmaceutical companies have so much power, and everything is steering you towards a medication.
Well,
Everything.
that's the money machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some. I mean, they just recently. I don't know if you're aware of it, but a friend of mine in the industry said just the last several days, CBD is now illegal.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the active ingredient in hemp, and it's helpful with cancer. It was just unbelievable to me, but not. It's really saddening to me because I have a friend that has cancer that is taking CBD oil and getting a lot of relief from that, and now it's illegal to sell as a supplement. Even Quicksilver Scientific, Chris Shades, he has a CBD oil
Yeah.
supplement, and obviously he's not going to be allowed to sell that. And very, very sad. And it's amazing they can take a molecule found in nature, a plant, and try to say that it's under investigation. So as a drug, so now it cannot be sold as a supplement. It is just mind-boggling.
It's not even possible to consider it in a rational human mind. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Wendy, tamoxifen, the number one chemotherapy drug for breast cancer,
Mm-hmm.
is listed by the CDC as a cancer-causing agent for human beings.
Yeah.
What
Mm-hmm.
are we talking about?
Yeah.
So it's really important with this story to say to the people that are listening in, wake up.
Yeah.
Don't take guys in the white coats' word for it. Ask
Mm-hmm.
your own questions. Do your own investigation. The internet is a miracle right now.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to people that you resonate with, that you feel comfortable with, that are getting you results rather than just say, okay, I'll take this drug. You don't need to.
Yeah, you do. You have to take responsibility for your own health. No one is going to do that for you. That is your job. And if you want to be healthy, you can't go to your physician and expect miracles because it's not going to be found in a drug. You might manage a symptom, to relieve pain or other symptoms, and until you can get it under control with natural means. But that's the best you're going to do.
We're in the era of what I refer to as 4P health. Health has to be predictive, it has to be preventive, it has to be personalized, and here's the catch. It has to be participatory.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that people get stuck on.
Yeah, they don't. No one wants to do the work. I don't even want to do the work. Okay, but I do it because I want to feel good. And it's too easy to take a pill and just passively expect results because a lot of people do take a pill and they feel better. They take a pain pill or their insulin or blood pressure medication or whatever it is, and they feel better. But ultimately, not the long-term solution.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the idea. The idea is what's your goal?
Mm-hmm.
What if you start with your end in mind? What is your goal? Do you want to be pain free? Do you want to live forever? Do you want to be beautiful? Do you want to be moving effortlessly and easily?
Mm-hmm.
Have I missed anything?
Yeah. Do you want your brain to work?
Oh yeah, you want to go to the potty without a problem? I don't know.
Yeah. Without being in a nursing home. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you say, all right, well, that's that. Yeah, yeah, that's what I want, Bill, Wendy. Yeah, I want to live forever. I want to look 18 years old, and I want to feel good doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, we can help you do that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you have to participate.
Yeah. Yeah, and so let's get back to ozone. So where can one find ozone therapy facilities?
Okay, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say that you can find them at Advanced BioCell.
Of course. Of
Oh,
course.
okay, good. So advancedbiocell.com is our
Mhm.
website, ADVANCEDBIOCELL.
Yes. And there'll be a link below the video and in the transcript and in your bio on the blog post. So, you just click on the link and go there.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. If you call 310-550-6767, you can talk to us, ask us any questions, book an appointment, and we can get you up to speed on whatever you'd like to know. There's only a few people in the Los Angeles area that are doing the high dose ozone, which is a relatively new approach to this over the last year. I don't know any of the other people that are doing it. I've heard there are, but we're practicing our treatments out of the Integrated Physicians Medical Group on Barrington in the West Los Angeles area, and we're happy to talk to anybody about any questions they might have.
Yeah, and so this is just not something commonly found. You're not going to find it at your typical doctor's office or even hospitals. Is it
No,
just,
no, you won't find them in hospitals
yeah,
because they really help people, and it's outside the view of the hospital. The hospital generally just wants to either stop your pain or keep you alive and send you someplace.
yeah, hmm,
That's what they do. They'll cut you, they'll burn you, or they'll give you drugs.
yeah,
And in an emergency situation, you want that to happen if you need it.
hmm,
Other than that, no. The way ozone is found here in Los Angeles, for example, is either through programs like these or through networks of people that that know it, or other ways. There's no like official listing. There are some places that do listing, but you know, ozone is not illegal in California. It's just not sanctioned by the AMA. So as a result, nobody's really kind of helping out saying, hey, there's this great way that you can clean your blood because it's not part of the bigger machinery.
yeah. Yeah, and so can you safely use ozone at home? I mean, clearly the technique that you're using is going to be maximally effective, but can you get a lot of benefits at home with using the tent and an ozone machine?
Sure, you can. And we were talking about that earlier. So if you get yourself an ozone generator, and you get an oxygen concentrator because you need the oxygen, and then the tubing and the bottle of water because the ozone has to run through the water and mix with the oxygen. And it's not complex. It's just kind of like orange juice cans, really, in the end.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can make fresh ozone water for yourself. And, you need to make it and drink it because it dissipates in after 15 minutes. You can do ear insufflation, like remember, put it in your ear. You can do the ozone sauna with the tent. Um, the
Yeah, I
more
have some clients, they have an infrared sauna and they infuse the ozone into that and kind of kill two birds with one stone, which I think is great. But are there any particular brands that you recommend? I did a podcast before and lots of, like, I mean, thousands of views on YouTube, and everyone's asking what brand of ozone generator do you recommend, and do you want to avoid the cheaper models?
Yes, you do want to avoid the cheaper models. Advanced BioCell is connected with one of the finest manufacturers for ozone generators. It's a private manufacturer, so these are all like top of the line personal use ozone generators, tuned to 442, I think, so that it brings in the sacred geometry frequency, and you can actually ultimately take in more ozone because of the frequency tuning. But yes, we can easily recommend a place where you can get one. We can help people get set up with systems and instruct them how to use them. It is a good idea to find someone that you can rely on and depend on when it comes to getting an ozone rig for yourself, because you do want to get some instruction, you want to get some guidance, you want to get some hands-on, and really that's the most central idea with advanced biocells. We're here to really educate and enlighten and guide people so they can take their own health in their own hands and take care of themselves. And possibly, I mean, you have your own ozone set up in your own house, it's going to cost you less than a CT scan, and you can take care of yourself and your friends and your family your whole life.
Yeah, yeah. So are there any brands on Amazon that you would recommend? Or
No,
yeah.
no. I don't know any of the commercial brands. I've heard some unfortunate stories about some of the commercial brands. I just am not aware enough. I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but I personally prefer to go through our private vendor because I know what I'm getting, and it's stuff that lasts for years and years and years. And he's like one of the leading experts in the field as well.
Yeah, and can ozone be dangerous? And I know that there's certifications for doctors to administer ozone therapy. There's a like a group or a board that certifies people. Or I'm a little unclear on the details, but is that because there's a danger involved in improper use of ozone?
Well, when it comes to direct IV, when you're infusing ozone directly into the blood, absolutely, that needs to be something you're educated to do and trained to do. If it goes too fast, it could cause a problem. If you're not careful and the way you administer it, there could be an air bubble that gets into the vein, and that's very dangerous. Of all the protocols available in the world for health and wellness, whether it's pharmaceuticals or it's surgery or it's radiation or it's ozone, the least problematic by light years is ozone. There was a study in Russia that was done 8 years ago, 5,000 ozone treatments, and this was with the direct IV, 5,000 treatments with a 0.000005 incidence of problem. We have over 275,000 deaths every year in the hospital from the proper use of prescription medications.
Yeah.
You do the numbers.
Yeah. So relatively speaking, ozone's a pretty safe bet.
It's probably the safest.
Yeah. So when someone's using it at home, so they get a tent and they're ozonating, how often can they do that?
Well, with the ozone generators at home, you can do it every day, and you're not getting, again, it gets back to the three areas: the quantity, the concentration, and the frequency. So the quantity that you can get from even on top of the line privately made ozone generator is not going to be too much for you if you're drinking the water that you make, if you're sitting in a ozone sauna, if you're doing ear insufflation, vaginal or rectal insufflation. You want to be careful with the timing, because otherwise it'll just dry out your insides too much and it'll be uncomfortable. It won't really hurt you.
So let's talk about the vaginal ozonation. So what benefits can that incur?
Well, what you're doing is you're getting the ozone into the area of the reproductive organs. And although if you do it direct IV or the way we do it with major autohemotherapy, you are getting a systemic effect. There's no question about it. When you put in the ear insufflation, you are getting a more concentrated impact in your cranial area, which is why they say it's can be beneficial for brain cancer kind of stuff. I find that I do get some drainage from my ears when I do ear insufflation. So when you do for example, when you do a ozone coffee enema, what you're doing is the coffee is causing the liver to contract and expand. And it's kind of likened to getting the plaster off a balloon. If you deflate the balloon a little bit that has plaster on it, the plaster will flake off. How do you deflate the liver? Well, the coffee makes it expand and contract slightly, and it loosens the toxins and it expresses them out. So when you're doing a coffee ozone enema, it's getting right in there through the capillaries close to the liver. So when you do vaginal insufflation, it's also impacting the female organs in a more direct way because the gas is going right into that area.
Yeah. Okay, great. And is there anything else that you wanted to add to our discussion about the ozone therapy?
Well, nothing other than to encourage everyone to give us a call and find out about it if you're even slightly inclined. We're doing our best to bring it to people's attention that having ozone treatment of any kind is just a good idea. A. Having ozone treatment of any kind ongoing is an even better idea.
Yeah, because most people have low grade chronic infections. They have multiple low grade chronic infections, be it candida or gut dysbiosis, parasites, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, so ozone just completely makes sense. Um,
Yeah, but that's the whole idea. Is that in today's discussions that I listen in on, and I say that because I'm really honored and privileged, feel privileged to be in on these great conversations. The main conversation is just that, Wendy. It's all about detoxification and cleansing and all the stuff we're carrying around. I have a very close friend that's got melanoma. We just came across a product that is reputed to take and destroy tumors. Simple thing that he's starting to take. The gentleman whose product it is was on the phone with us the other day and was saying, listen, here's the protocol, here's what you do, and I'm telling you from the previous history I've had that you stick with it and this tumor will vanish. However, I'll tell you, the other stuff that this product's going to help you with in your body is a lot more to worry about than that melanoma tumor.
hmm.
Wow. He sounded like, very confident. He'd had some very strong experiences in eliminating tumors with this product. But his point was the same. The toxins and the pollutants that you've been carrying around since you were born are causing a lot more problem than that tumor on your leg.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, and I personally believe that we are so full of toxins and that you have to have a daily detox strategy. Be thinking about supplements or detox protocols, ozone, whatever it may be. You need to do something on a near daily basis to combat all the toxins we deal with on a daily basis.
Exactly, and so that's what we do here at Advanced BioCell is our best to wake people up, to bring their attention to the idea that it's not only a good idea to get yourself cleaned out, but it's the best idea to keep cleaning yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question I like to ask all of my guests. What do you think is the most pressing health issue in the world today?
I think the most pressing health issue in the world today is the world we live in. I used to think the most pressing health issue in the world today was people's opinions. But I think it's really waking up and living in the world every day. You know, so many of us, certainly in my generation, grew up watching Ozzy and Harriet and the Mickey Mouse Club, and the world was a different kind of place. The way it was thought about, and we all thought there was going to be a nice, beautiful thing ongoing, well, it certainly has changed. And you can't just sit around and have a trip to Whole Foods and a trip to the movies and a trip to the bank be your life, because it won't really take you where you want to go, because all this stuff is happening all around you all the time. And you say 1 out of 3, soon 1 out of 2 people are showing up with cancer. Well, it's because of all the stuff that happens every day when you wake up that you really just don't attend to. I'll do it later. I'll exercise later. I'll take those vitamins when I get home. I'll rest. I'll meditate tomorrow. All that stuff gets pushed back and pushed back, but your body gets pushed back and pushed back.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that people really need to make their health a priority, and you get what you focus on. You know, when it comes to your health, you have to work at it to get results. And I really implore people not to wait till you get a diagnosis of autoimmune or cancer or any other kind of diabetes or other health condition. The time is right now before there's damage to your body, permanent damage. And you have control and the power right now to prevent disease.
That is absolutely the truth. The best way to be healthy is to never get sick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why I do this podcast, to give, empower people and give them the tools and the ideas that they need to, improve their health and prevent disease. So that's why I do what I do.
Well, it's a wonderful thing that you do, and I applaud you tremendously, and I think all your people are very lucky to have you there.
Yeah. Well, tell us about yourself. Can the listeners find you and whatnot?
Okay. My company, again, is Advanced BioCell. You can see our website at advancedbiocell.com. That's with a D, advanced. The phone number you can reach us at is 310-550-6767. And we're here to help.
Yeah, and so am I as well. So you guys can learn more about me at liveto110.com, and you can learn all about my detox program at mineralpower.com. Thank you so much for listening to the Live to 110 podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Wendy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, Wendy. Appreciate being on here. Thank you.
Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your own personal health journey?
So my journey started at 46 years old, and now I'm 58. So that's 12 years ago. I had a very long list of life-threatening health issues, from heart disease to liver disease. I had a whole list. It was awful. And so the doctors were reading me the Riot Act. I had to have different surgeries and pharmaceutical protocols, and it just scared me to death. So I got away from them. And today, I am very, very healthy level in many areas. All of those things are long gone. And even though they were incurables and they were not in any way, shape, or form viewed as being something I could get out of on my own, I met the right people at the right time and was able to get rid of all of that junk. By the end of 2009, I was back to a normal medical range with all of my markers. And at that point, I went, okay, let's see how far we can take this. Let's see how healthy we can get, because the older we get, the healthier we can become, provided that you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And so you, in your own personal health journey, you started a company where you started developing marine phytoplankton. So why is it such an important nutrient for human health?
Well, the phytoplankton came on the scene right out of the gate. That was the first thing that came to me. And it was the thing that kick-started everything in the right direction. And the thing that I know now as to why, at that time I had no real idea why. I just knew that it was cool. But now we understand that this is containing every single nutritional molecule known to any historical data on the earth. And this is not to be confused with chlorella or spirulina or any of the other algae out there. This is a very specific two-strain product that is grown in the south of Spain in a photobioreactor in the most perfect conditions possible. And these were selected for human nutritional profile. And so the entire spectrum of all the nutrients within each microscopic cell is in the nano range. So you have all the amino acids, essential fatty acids, pigments, minerals, enzymes, and the list is very long. There's been a tremendous amount of research done into this, how this works in the body, where it's like, let food be your medicine, medicine be your food. This is the epitomization of that. So when I started taking it, all I noticed was that I had a tremendous amount of body energy, but more importantly was mental energy, and a real enthusiasm came in for living. So that was exciting, because I was not a happy camper. And I was trying various different things like raw foods and vegan and juicing, but they